Library. My name is Brent, and today we're talking about ribs. Come on down. So one of the first things you're going to have to think about when you're talking about ribs is whether you want back ribs, which are like this, or whether you want spare ribs or St. Louis style, which is usually more this style here. Now basically, when the rib comes off the pig, there is going to be some curvature in the way it is, and it's going to be a fairly sizable piece. What they usually wind up doing is running a cut down through there and dividing it into two pieces. So the back ribs are fairly self-explanatory. Those run up along the backbone, and this more St. Louis style here is more the side of the pig. So once you get them out of their original packaging, that plastic cryovac, which is great for making things keep for a good long time, one of the first things you're going to want to do, pat them dry with some paper towels and flip them over so that you've got the inside of the rib in there, because there is a membrane on the inside of these that you want to get off of there. So you kind of get a hold of it and kind of peel it. It may or may not come off all in one piece. A paper towel can help get a hold of that. You can kind of see that that peels off. It's going to take me a few moments to get all that off of there. But on the more the St. Louis style here, you're also going to have this flap in here, and you want to take that off of there. So you don't throw this away. This is good meat, but there is a little more trimming to do on the St. Louis style rib than there is on the back ribs. You'll also see that there's some fat in here that we're going to take off of there. And same thing on this style here. There is definitely still that membrane in there. This is kind of the it's the liner of the inside of the body cavity on the pig. You can kind of see how that comes off there. So I'm hoping you can see that on the camera there. We'll show you a little bit of the difference between the back ribs and the side ribs here. So you can see that the cross section of the bone is much rounder here, and there's a little bit of that curvature in here I talked about. There's also considerably less fat on these than there is on the other. Basically what this is here, this is the same bone that you would get with a pork chop, because this is much higher on the animal. This here is off the side. You can see that the cross section of the bone is much wider and flatter. You're also going to find that there is some cartilage in here, which you're not going to find on the back ribs, and there's actually some joints up in through here. And this section down over in here actually doesn't have any bones in it at all. So we're going to go ahead and do some a dry rub on this. So we're going to start off. I've got about a quarter cup of brown sugar here. We're going to put that on first. And exactly how you do your dry rub is entirely up to you, but this is kind of how I do it. There's way more different seasoning mixes than one could ever hope to master in one lifetime that go into these kinds of things, but we're going to rub that in there nice, flip them over, and do the same thing on the other side. I believe we used a very similar mix on our chicken a little while back, if you've been watching some of our previous episodes. So I got some Lowry seasoned salt here. We're going to sprinkle that liberally on there on both sides. Now I should mention that we are not doing barbecue here. A real pitmaster would laugh this technique off the face of the earth, but it still produces a pretty good product. Now we're going to take some chili powder. Sprinkle that on both sides. So we've got both sides liberally seasoned, and then we're going to get going on our process here. Now I mentioned that we are not doing barbecue. Real barbecue is done on charcoal or wood, and it is definitely done slow and low with smoke. We are going to finish this on the grill with some wood smoke, but doing that, right, takes either years of practice and skill or some pretty fancy equipment. My old neighbor Carl used to laugh at me doing ribs, but he was a professional pitmaster, and he had a rig that probably cost several $1,000s and required a truck to move from place to place. This isn't going to require that kind of investment or time. So here's my setup. Got my oven preheated at 210. I've I've got my lower rack. Just pull that out a little bit, put that disposable pie pan in there, and fill it up part way with warm water. Push that rack back in, and that's going to help maintain the humidity in the oven. I've got my seasoned ribs on a sheet tray here. I'm using a steel tray rather than an aluminum one. You do not want to use a lot of salt on an aluminum pan for a long period of time because it will start to corrode the pan. And I also seasoned up that flat meat in here and kind of tucked it in the corner. Put these in here and let them go for 6 to 8 hours. You are definitely going to want to start this either early in the day or the day before you're planning on using them, because if you don't give them low, slow time, they are not going to be tender. So these have been in for about 7 hours, and this is what they look like. Now, I haven't put any sauce on these, and I'm actually going to finish these tomorrow. Now, you could eat these right now. The way you tell if they're done, you check them with a thermometer probe here and get right down in between the bones. We're looking for about 180 degrees for nice and tender. 165 is plenty, but if you want tender, you want up towards that 180 degrees. So what I'm going to do with these, I am going to wrap these and put them in the refrigerator overnight, and I will finish them on the grill tomorrow to get that final glaze with the sauce and to get that flavor of the smoke and the fire in there. So our ribs are fully cooked, and I've got a fire started here. We're going to finish them on here, and we're going to do the sauce over here. So I took the racks and divided them up into some slightly smaller pieces, and set those on here. And I've got this set as a 2-zone fire right now. I've got the fire over on the edge that's closest to you right now, and then this back side over here, I don't have any flame underneath. We're just going to do that to kind of take things a little on the gentle side. I don't really need to do any cooking on these at this point. We are going to warm them up and sauce them. And I got that piece of flat meat here too. So we're going to cover this up, let them go for a little bit. I do have some wood chunks on there to give it a little bit of smoke. So these have been on warming up for a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and put the first little bit of sauce on here. Now, some people like sauce on the ribs, some people like it on the side. We're going to go ahead and sauce some of them, but not all of them. I love these squeeze bottles. Kind of put right on there. Now, this is a silicone bristle brush, which is heat resistant and easy to clean. So I'm just going to go ahead and spread that on there nice and evenly like that. Put the lid back on. Let it go for a little bit. That's going to help to set that glaze. Now, can you make your own sauce? You can. There are so many different varieties out there and different regional styles and whatever. Pick one you like. Pick a bottled sauce. Use that. If you want to make your own sauce, go ahead, but you don't have to. So these have been on for a little while, about 10 minutes or so, and that glaze is starting to set. I'm going to flip these over. We're going to sauce the other side. Now, once you start flipping these things over and putting the sauce side down, you want to make sure that you're very careful about not putting them over the direct heat, because most barbecue sauces have got a lot of sugar in them. They will burn, and stick to everything. Put too much heat onto a sugary sauce. And these other ones over here that I'm not saucing, we're not even going to worry about flipping those because they're just heating along just fine. Give these about another 5-10 minutes like that. We'll pull them aside and they'll be ready to go. So I've pulled these off the grill and the sauce is fully set and fully glazed. So this one here is one of the racks that had the sauce on them. Flip those up, just get the knife right down between the bones and cut those into serving pieces, 1 or 2 bones. You're going to set those on the platter and put them out with your favorite sides. Maybe a little more sauce on the side, and give it a run. So as you can see, there's not really a huge difference between doing them whether you got the back ribs or the other ribs. So ribs, give them a try. The long, slow cooking that we did in the oven really takes a lot of the guesswork out of these because you're not spending all day tending a fire.